Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 9th of February. As we continue working our way through Genesis with Robert Murray McShane, today we read Genesis chapter 42. Joseph's brothers come to Egypt. He immediately recognizes them as they come to buy food from him. They don't recognize him. Unsurprisingly, he's dressed as a king, as Egyptian royalty, completely different from the Joseph they knew years and years and years before. So they don't know who they're dealing with. He knows exactly who he's dealing with. And he starts testing them. And he challenges them, says that they're spying, locks them up in prison, then lets them go, and says, one of you can stay behind, the rest of you can go, but you've got to bring your younger brother back with you when you come. And in verse 21, they have this conversation with themselves, clearly in Aramaic or whatever their home language was, but Joseph can understand. We're told, they said to one another, surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That's why this distress has come upon us now. So they were looking back at what they'd done to Joseph years before, probably 10, 15 years earlier. And as I read that, I thought there was no link between what they did to Joseph and their present distress. Here was an Egyptian royalty treating them badly, but they thought this is what they deserved. Their behavior had been so bad that this was maybe the payback. And it made me think that within the human heart is a sense of justice. And it's not surprising. We created in the image of God, who is a just God. And so I think deep inside every person is this knowledge of that there is right and there is wrong, and there are consequences to what you do. And when you do things wrong, you should have some kind of consequence. And that's certainly what they were saying. And I've seen it more recently. There's so many people that seem to be struggling with a sense of guilt, a sense of I've done wrong and something bad ought to happen to me. I ought to pay back. There ought to be something. And the problem is with so much guilt is you can't undo it. With Joseph's brothers, they thought they'd sold him, he's gone. They couldn't undo what they'd done. And so often we'll do things, we'll say things, and if we could turn back time, we'd do things differently, but we can't. And many, many people carry this guilt with them and try and process it. We have hope because we have forgiveness. And God can forgive us for what we have done. And He is the one that has put that sense of guilt within us, and He can free us. And so we can come to God with confession. If we can make restitution for the bad things we've done, that would be good. But we can go to God for forgiveness when we've done wrong things. And the second is to avoid it in the first place, to treat people in a way that will not incur guilt later on, to treat people well, and to just listen to what Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. If we lived like that, that'd be, we wouldn't have guilt. He says to us, love your enemies, do good to those who persecute you. And if we were to just follow Jesus and live as He told us, the guilt associated with how we treat people wouldn't be there because we'd have treated everybody well. So the guilt you're dealing with, take it to God. The dealings that you have with people, make sure that they align with God's word to protect us down the line. As we do that, we are blessed.